This is your first maths lesson after Easter. As you can see, I've got my book out and ready. I'm going to be wanting you to take some notes. So if you've got your maths book at home, use that. If you haven't, try and find some paper or a notebook or something that you can use, and then we can put those notes back into your maths book when we get to school. So try and keep these nice and neat, just like you would in a lesson. Pretend I'm watching you. Make sure you're using a ruler if you need to use a ruler. Make sure you're doing all the things that in a lesson I would tell you to do. Okay? So, your title for today is going to be Substituting into Formula. Substituting into formulae. Now, you might remember that we've done this before. Actually, what we've looked at quite a lot is what we call substituting into expressions. So when we substitute into expressions, there tends not to be an equals sign. But for these ones, we're going to have an equals sign. So I've underlined my title with a ruler, so substituting into formulae. Now let's just start by having a quick refresher of substitution generally. So let's write down some numbers. Let's say that A equals 7, B equals -2, C equals 4, and D equals 10. So we've got those four numbers. So remember, substituting, just like in football, you bring a player off, you put another player on. In maths, we bring the letters off and we put the numbers on. Okay, so that's exactly how it works. So you might get something like A plus D. Now you're probably all now shouting at me that that's really easy and that's 17, but I'm just going to show you how I want you to write it. So whenever you see an A, you're going to write a 7, and then I've got a plus. Whenever you see a D, you're going to write a 10, so that's going to give us 17. Now, but you can all tell me the answer to this as well. What secret symbol is hiding between that C and that D? If you don't know that, or you've forgotten, maybe you just need to write down that in there is one of our secret time signs. Okay, so if you've got two letters next to each other, that's got a secret time sign. So C and D. So C is 4 and D is 10. So I write my 4, and then I have to write my secret time sign now. If I didn't, it would just look like 410. So we have to now write the secret time sign, so it's not very secret anymore. And then I write my D, which is 10, and we times them to give us 40. Right, let's have a look at this one then. What's A minus B? So let's have a look at this one. Whenever I see an A, I'm going to write a 7, and then I've got a minus sign to write. And then whenever I see a B, I need to write -2. And now I can see loads of your hands would have shot up at this point, wouldn't they? We can see now, you're all screaming at me, I can hear you. I've got 2 minuses there. If they're next to each other and I can put a loop round them like that, then I can write a plus. So that's the same as 7 plus 2, which is 9. Okay? So that's substituting into what we call expressions. These things are all expressions. Okay? Now, today our title was substituting into formulae. So this is kind of almost all the way there. What we're actually going to have is a letter on one side and then an equals and then some letters on the other side. But I just want you to pause the video here now, and I want you to have a look at worksheet 1. So this is going to work just like a normal maths lesson. I'm going to do a bit of waffling. You're going to write some beautiful notes, and then we're going to stop and we're going to do some work. Now, you might not have a printer at home. That's absolutely fine. Do the work in your book. Don't worry about writing out all the questions. As we do in the lesson, just write out the important bit of maths information. Okay? So I want you to pause the video now, and I want you to look at worksheet 1. When you've done that, I want you to come back to this video, because we're going to keep going, and we're going to talk about formulae. Okay, so hopefully you've had a go at worksheet 1, and perhaps you struggled, perhaps it was okay. If you struggle, can I remind you that there are some more videos on Maths Watch that you could you could have a look at, might offer a slightly different explanation to me. But we've done things like this before. In fact, our last lesson before we had to work from home was you filled in a big table with lots of letters in, and you were absolutely fantastic at it. Really, really good. So that should have been just a little reminder. Now we're going to have a look. It's worth saying that you can pause this video at any time. So if you're trying to write notes and I'm going too quickly, you can pause it, and then that gives you a chance to catch up. Or if you think I've said something useful, you might want to pause it and just write down what I've said. Okay? I won't be offended if you pause me. All right, so let's have a look. I'm going to write a few words for this one. So, a builder works out how much to charge for a job using this formula. So, the total cost equals 200 plus 20h. So that's a formula. It's got an equal sign, it's got a couple of letters. That's what we call a formula. And it will always tell you where T is the total cost and H is the number of hours. So it'll always tell you what the letters represent. Okay? So a builder works out how much to charge for a job using this formula. So T equals 200 plus 20h. And then the question might say something like, how much would he charge for a job that lasts 6 hours? Right, and this is still substitution. So this is still exactly what we've just been doing, but it's now substitution that's been mixed up in a load of words. So how much would he charge? So we want the total. So in fact, I'm going to start by writing out the formula. Oh, secret time sign. That's worth remembering, isn't it? Right, so what have we got? Well, we've got 6 hours. So we know that hours is represented by H. So whenever I see an H, I can put 6. So I'm going to have 200 plus 20, secret time sign, and then we've got 6 hours. Right, and now I can see a few more hands flying up. What do I need to remember now? Well, now I need to remember that I've got a plus and I've got a times. We need to spare a thought for BIDMAS, don't we? Okay, so what do I have to do first? I know you know we need to do the timesing first. So let's leave the 200 there. What's 20 times 6? Well, I know, let's do 2 times 6, which is 12. And then I need to put the 0 on. And then let's work out what this is. So 200 add 120 is 320. So he would charge £320 for a 6-hour job. Okay? So, things to remember. Secret time signs, BIDMAS, working out what letter we're dealing with. Okay? So this is exactly the same as the other substitution that we were doing, but now we're just going to have lots and lots of words kind of surrounding it. Let's look at one more together, and then I'm going to stop and you can have a look at the next worksheet. Okay? So, that was about a builder. What should we do? Well, it would seem wrong for us not to do something to do with food. Let's talk about cooking a chicken. So, a chicken should be cooked according to this formula. So, what should we say? So the time is, let's say it's 30W plus 20. And then it'll always tell you what the letters are. So T is the time, and this is going to be in minutes. And W is going to be the weight in kilograms. Now, I wouldn't actually follow this rule to cook a chicken. I do not want to be responsible for any food poisoning, so don't actually follow this. It's like that cake recipe we wrote. Not actually sure that would have made a decent cake. But anyway, it's good enough for this maths question. So then it might say, how long should we cook a 2 kilogram chicken for? And then it might say, how about a 500 gram chicken? Right, let's have a look. So let's do part A by number then, A and B. Let's look at A first. I'm going to write out my formula and then I'm going to decide what I'm sticking in. So I'm trying to find the total time, and I've got a 2 kilogram chicken. Now look, my weight is in kilograms. So this is fine. This is correct. So whenever I see a W, which is my weight, I'm going to put the number of kilograms, which is 2. So I've got 30, secret time sign alert. Whenever I see a W, I'm writing the weight, which is 2. And then I'm going to add 20. Right, another BIDMAS alert. I've got a times and a plus. BIDMAS, multiplication comes before addition. 30 times 2, do 3 times 2 is 6, then put a 0 on the end. And then I need to add the 20. So 60 add 20 gives me 80. So I should cook a 2 kilogram chicken for 80 minutes. Right, let's have a look at B. Again, always start by writing your formula. That just kind of sets your mind at rest, says what we need to be doing. So, now I've got a 500 gram chicken. My weight should be in kilograms. So, what do we know about grams and kilograms? We know that there's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram, and I've got 500 grams. So what have I done? Well, I've divided this side by 2. So I need to divide this side by 2. So either half or 0.5 kilograms. So there's an added step to this question. I needed to convert my units. I can't put 500 into the formula. That would tell me to cook the chicken for thousands of minutes, and that would be a very frazzled chicken. So 500 grams, I have to put that into kilograms. Okay, now we've just done unit conversion, so I know that 500 grams is half a kilogram, 0.5 kilograms. Right, back to my formula, which I wish I had a pound for every time I'd written it. We'd be rich, wouldn't we? So 30, secret time sign. Right, what's my weight? Well, it's 500 grams, so it's 0.5 kilograms. And then I've got my plus 20 on the end. Right, 30 times 0.5. Let's do, what should we do? Let's do 3 times 0.5. So 0.5, and then go up by 0.5 would give me 1, and then go up by 0.5 would give me 1.5. So 3 times 0.5 is 1.5, but I've got 30, so I need to times that answer by 10, which gives me 15 plus 20. For these questions, you can use a calculator. So you could have typed that into the calculator, and it would have given you the same thing. 15 add 20 is going to give me 35. So I should cook a 500 gram chicken for 35 minutes. Okay, so you are allowed to use a calculator. I'd like you now to, this is going to be the end of this video, so I'd like you now to have a go at worksheet 2. So hopefully, if you do you've done worksheet 1, and if you do worksheet 2, that will be about what we would have done in a normal maths lesson. Okay, so that's your first maths lesson. We're going to finish off a little bit of formula stuff, and then we're actually going to move on to some shape topics. Okay, So if you need to be finding a ruler and a pencil at home ready for next lesson whenever you're going to do that. But I'd like you now to do worksheet 2, and then that will be the end of this lesson. Okay? I'll upload all the answers to the worksheets at the end of the week. And as always, any super work that you've done, I would like you to send me a photo of it so I can give out lots and lots of achievement points. Okay, thank you to the people that have already sent me fantastic work. It's much, much appreciated. Really, really proud of the hard work you're all putting in. Okay, so that's the end of this lesson. There will be answers put up at the end of the week. Let me know if you're stuck, if you've got any questions whatsoever. Please let me know, and I'll do my best to help you. Okay, well done.